For a game where dragons make up a third of the name, Dungeons & Dragons is notoriously impoverished on Wizards of the Coast made dragon-themed dungeons. Sure, there's Lost Mines of Phandelver, Icespire Peak, Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, Tyranny of Dragons, Horde of the Dragon Queen, Wild Beyond the Witchlight, Storm King's Thunder, The Rise of Tiamat, The Spelljammer Adventure, Candlekeep Mysteries, and Waterdeep Dragon Heist, but I only get my opinions off the internet and reading is hard. In this one, we're going through 6 dragon-themed dungeons or adventures that, statistically, you haven't seen or heard of yet because they're only from indie writers. There's also a freebie dragon-themed system-neutral dungeon that I wrote and I'm giving away for free at the end of this video. But before we get into all that, I just got this box in this last week and you all got to see what's inside. This isn't sponsored, I'm just really happy to have this one in my hands. I honestly hadn't checked out Nimble until Trekeros actually said that he wrote some stuff for it. And then whenever I looked into it, I found out that Evan was also checking out Vagabond, and we just kind of like reached out to each other at the same time, and like, yeah, I wound up getting hired for some consultation and writing work on this thing. I wrote Assault on the Royal Nest in here. It's supposed to be this total like Call of Duty style chaotic warfare scenario where the party's gonna get thrown into the middle of this siege where there's supposed to be all kinds of cinematic, over-the-top action scenes. They're gonna be jumping in from like an aerial assault while they're on Griffinback while just nuking a bunch of serpent folks. There's a bunch of like magical items where they'll uncover a prophecy, and there's a giant cobra. The whole thing just winds up wrapping up with an aerial battle against the Lindworm that's ascending to godhood, and I just tried to do everything I could to make sure that even lower level characters would feel like action movie heroes and gods here. I was reading a lot of Goodman Games and stuff for Dungeon Crawl Classics at the time, so I think that really kind of showed. Please go show Evan some love and check out Nimble down in the link below. Genuinely, this is the kind of game that delivers a smoother experience than D&D 5e, but still delivers a mid-crunch modern feel and character expression. Again, not paid to say any of this stuff, I'm just stoked to see Evan really flourishing here. Now, one that I'm going to mention here is Dragon Relics. This is a full-on legendary magic item collectathon campaign for D&D 5e.
Watsy fanboy!
Is your mom with that mouth?
Okay, chill out, Redditors. I know, but this one's by JBC Perry, writer of the adventure I featured in last year's Kraken Week video. Those of you that know Perry know why that's all I have to say to go get people to go pick this thing up. I've never personally been a big fan of the voice of 5th edition adventures, but JBC is one of the best to ever do it, and those of you with some decent conversion chops can easily run this in an OSR system, Shadowdark, Nimble, or, my dang Vagabond. Yeah, anyways, this feels like a really classic sort of just fantasy, almost like video gamey plot, but in a way that just feels so like, this is what the players are going to be expecting out of this kind of a game, and it feels like we don't have a ton of adventures that always answer that. Like, tropes are tropes because they're good, right? We've established that there are, like, story themes that we like over time because, like, we just like them. We continue to use them because we do like them, right? Tropes are tropes for a really solid, good reason, and this right here, it does get into the tropey area, but honestly, it's really welcome. I think whenever you try too much to, like, be this certain special, unique kind of a thing, you tend to alienate more people, whereas something is like a bit more relatable where they're like, I understand, kill the dragon with the sword. It feels a bit more understandable and grokkable. Yeah. This next one up, I don't know if this is Fabians Ailier or Ailier. I don't know, but I do know that Brad Kerr is like one of my favorite adventure writers out there. If he's not already on your radar, you're missing out on one of the world's best adventure writers, hands down. This guy has already put out a body of work that runs circles around classic TSR modules, and it's an adventure from this anthology, Wyvern Songs, that we're talking about today. Fabians Ailier is a funhouse puzzle dungeon akin to White Plume Mountain. While this one is a sequel to Kerr's Hideous Daylight, it's written to be played independently of it as well. In Fabians Ailier, a wizard sanctum built on a giant floating disc has appeared above a location of your choice. The party's investigation reveals the island was being kept aloft by an imprisoned Zine, whose prison is failing. Its dreams and wish essence were being farmed by a wizard named Fabian, who has died, and the island's sudden appearance is a symptom of the machine being fueled by this essence actually starting to fail. But it's just one part of this mystery, and we haven't even talked about the clever way Kerr implements a dragon here. One of the dungeon's gimmicks involves the party being able to shrink themselves to explore various rat holes in a dollhouse. A dollhouse which is now the lair of a shrunken nightmare dragon named Equinox. This dragon specializes in sleep magic, and its shrunken size can make it a manageable fight for lower level parties if their hit points and damage output weren't also had by being shrunk as well. This is a small aside from the dungeon proper, but it's a memorable and weird moment that could set up Equinox as a recurring enemy later in your campaigns. This is one of those signature moments that makes Kerr one of my favorite writers for TTRPGs, just flat out. The guy just totally understands what kinds of moments naturally evolve at most tables for role-playing, and he gives you fuel to make more of those absurd scenes happen. This one's written for old school essentials in Cairn, but you can easily run it for any basic expert derivative system without any issue. Inspired by the Norse myth of Fafnir, the dwarf-turned-dragon, the Blackworm of Brandonsburg is a small, regional hex crawl similar to Keep on the Borderlands or Lost Mines of Phandelver. The town of Brandonsburg is one of your bog-standard fantasy towns that was settled by some genius who felt like the edge of an enchanted forest was just like primo real estate. Lo and behold, there just so happens to be a bloated black dragon haunting the woods, poisoning the land with its foul corruption. There's quests all over the place for just about every kind of player. Small town rumors sparking investigations into the supernatural, a handful of fetch quests that get a starting party a great loadout of magic items, and scenarios that scratch all the classic fantasy tropes in ways that make this one of my favorite starter adventures I've ever read through. Because the worm can be encountered almost instantly if things turn out that way, that doesn't mean the party potentially slaying the worm brings this to a close. Even the dragon's death starts to unravel another mystery that they can look into while they're in the region. If your group is looking to venture out of the comfort zone of 5th edition and into some old school essentials, Shadowdark, Knave, or even my system Vagabond, Blackworm of Brandonsburg gets a heavy endorsement from me. Also, if you want to hear more about the myth that inspired this one and more about the whole origin of dragon mythos, check out my buddy Delver's video for Dragon Week, link below. Gavin Norman, the creator of Old School Essentials, wrote Incandescent Grottos as a sister dungeon to his beloved pagan Wonderland dungeon, Hole in the Oak. This dungeon takes place in a grotto that would be the envy of every TikTok crystal mommy. It's full of troglodytes, a cult to an ooze god, a necromancer, and a mage and crystal-eating dragon that serve as the climax of this thing. This is a dream dragon capable of manifesting its dreams as real-life illusions, and wants nothing more than to reclaim its lair and eat a bunch of elves and halflings. You know, normal dragon shit. However, a magic effect keeps the dragon fairly contained to the deepest reaches of the grotto. The players can try to slay the dragon while it's relatively handicapped, or choose to free it and see what happens. This, in conjunction with the rest of the grottos, makes for a great early level adventure with just tons of enemy diversity. While we're on Exalted Funeral and Necrotic Gnome stuff, this one comes from Old School Essentials' Adventure Anthology 2. Nate Trim's Shrine of the Oozing Serpent features one of the most sick nasty dragons I've ever come across, Sootmerk, the Grease Dragon. I originally found Trim through his system neutral dungeons like Dogtooth Valley and Witch Tomb, and I was like so stoked to see that he was actually brought onto the personnel for this thing. In Oozing Serpent, the party is tasked with killing whatever is attacking a nearby road and kidnapping the travelers. All clues lead to a ruined shrine to a gnomish god, destroyed by Sootmerk and his frogmen, the Gloops. Sootmerk is a 12-legged black axolotl that likes to give its victims the Khal Drogo Crown for a King special, as shown in the incredible art here from Jacob Fleming. While this might be one of the most cliché dungeon starts, the atmosphere of this one really sets it apart. There's this like slightly steampunky bit because of all the gnomish like gadgetry and whatnot, and it's contained to all of about 12 different chambers. Each room is packed with puzzles and interactive stuff, and it's another lower level dungeon on this list, but its incredibly compact layout makes it perfect for conventions and one-shots. Taron from the future here to let you all know that the awesome people at Exalted Funeral have actually teamed up here for Dragon Week to do a giveaway here in the comment section. We're going to be giving away 5 copies of their Adventure Anthology series. All you got to do is leave a comment down below, and then me and Exalted Funeral will pick out winner down there. I don't know, do we need to have like some kind of a contest about like, right, the best prompt or something? I don't know. Leave a comment down there. It's engagement. All right. Like, help the video get some attention. You get some free stuff. Sound like a good little trade? Huge thank you to the guys over at Exalted Funeral. They make some of the best, I mean, honestly, my favorite stuff in the TTRPG industry. These guys help out a lot of indie guys get into mainstream retail. They make some high quality material. And honestly, their Adventure Anthology 1 and 2, I have praised these books multiple times as being the best adventure books in the entire industry, especially if you're looking at studying some dungeon design and you want to see like what some of the more like modern pros are doing. These 2 books right here. Anyways, these could be yours. Leave a comment down below. Like the video anyways since you're here. Anyways, thank you so much to Exalted Funeral for helping out with this video, and go check out their store. So let's get back into it. Alright, now this one was sent to me by my buddy JP Couvert here on YouTube, who successfully funded it over on Kickstarter last year. Dragontown in the Darkness Below is a more family-friendly dungeon crawler adventure, but it never goes so hard into being kid-friendly that it becomes patronizing or obnoxious for adults. Xanthoriel, the gold dragon, is mayor of Dragontown, who's gone missing. The party is tasked with finding Xanthoriel to help deal with the ne'er-do-wells who have taken advantage of the Guardian's absence and are causing chaos in Dragontown. But that's just one half of the title, as the Darkness Below is still a force to be reckoned with, and saving Xanthoriel just really barely scratches the surface of the campaign. This is one of the few adventures I've seen featuring a dragon as a recurring, helpful NPC, which gives Dragontown its own sort of unique charm. I guess Wild Beyond the Witchlight has Sir Talabar, but like, the dude has a face that belongs on a sex offender registry. Yeah, anyways, I've read through Dragontown, and JP's work here is stellar. You want to introduce someone to TTRPGs? This thing is built for ballparking easy conversions to whatever system you want to run. If you're feeling confident as a GM and want to check out some system neutral work, Dragontown is a great way to give that a shot. Alright, so before we wrap this one up, I've got a freebie here for you. In celebration of Dragon Week, I made my postcard-sized dungeon that features a dragon, the Caustic Cave of Casmoiden, available now to the public, totally free in the description. It's a system-neutral dungeon, so it doesn't matter if you're a Pathfinder Zealot, a Shadowdark Simp, or a D&D diehard. This is one I built for one-shots in system demos for any system. Here, a colony of kobolds is attempting to resurrect an acid dragon, with the final encounter being inspired by the classic Errol Otis cover. Real standard stuff, but if you need something with no prep to run tonight, come pick it up. If you like this format, you should check out any of the adventures that I listed here, because so much of my mindset was really informed by a lot of the writers that I mentioned. I also had to throw a shout out here for Gardens of Yin here at the very end. Just wanted to mention this one because I know that it features a Jabberwock, but I haven't been able to totally make it through this one in time for Dragon Week. I literally just got the hardcover copy, yeah. I originally read the first Gardens of Yin and super loved it, so whenever I heard that the hardback was like coming out, I threw another 40 bucks out there just to get this thing. But look, this is like a liminal horror type of Feywild that you could throw into any setting. This is like a... I know a lot of you guys have been introduced to Vast in the Dark from Charles Ferguson Avery because of Ben Milton's video. This is another one that's kind of similar to that. I guess in the Zine ethos, rather. This one feels a bit more fairy tale, but more like haunted fairy tale, more like Alice in Wonderland has been poisoned in a way. This one's sick. I love ENnie Allen's work. I know it features a Jabberwock. It just came out. I'm trying to shoehorn in a promo here. Anyways, that's going to do it for this one. A huge shout out to my Patreon sponsors. Thank you all so much for helping me keep the lights on around here and coffee in my blood. You all are absolute heroes. Everybody, stay healthy, stay safe, and I will see you in the next one.